I'm waiting for confirmation here. And we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens on the various platforms that we're going to here. Hopefully everything works okay. Oh, looks like we're live on YouTube. So that's a bonus. Great. And let's check Facebook. Make sure that's rolling. All right. Looks like we're live on Facebook. 2 times. Double shot. Let's go into this one. All right. And then we just got to wait for the other one. Hey, Craig. Good to see you over there on YouTube. Hey, Aaron. Thanks for confirming that it sounds okay. I'm trying to do this by my lonesome today. So I'm trying to figure out some of the technology. So I decided to actually go on a little bit earlier to just go through a couple of the bumps and various things that going live sometimes sometimes results in. I actually have, looks like everything is looking okay on all platforms. So I'm just going to double check Vimeo here. And I believe Vimeo is working as well. Oh my gosh, this is a big happy day. I feel like I feel like this is maybe a small miracle. I just saw Khalid pop in over on YouTube and Charlene, and I wanted to say hi to you all. Dwayne, thanks for confirming that the audio is okay. Ernesto, hello to you, and Summer, hello to you. Let's see, I'm going to check my let's see here. I got to communicate with the team. We're all kind of doing this a little bit remotely. So I'll get into the details here in a second. But I just want to communicate to the team here really quick. It's kind of hard. I'm looking at 3 different versions of myself on this screen. I gotta show you this. Hold on. So here is, I just got to turn something off here. This is hilarious because when you all see this, you're going to be like, wow, this guy's a wreck. Hold on one moment. This is a real peek behind the scenes here. Okay, this is what I'm looking at on my computer here. Lots of Tonys. And I just wanted to pop on live, actually, to work out the kinks, but also to kind of have a pre-party hang. I don't get a chance to do this all that often, and because of some of the technology stuff, I just wanted to pop on early and work through some of the kinks, as I mentioned, but also just kind of hang with you all until we officially start at 11. So usually I spend the first few moments of the show just kind of bopping around from this topic to that topic, and I thought, well, we could just hang early because, well, I like hanging with you, and why not? Plus, I've got a lot on my mind. I have a couple of technology things that I do have to work through. I want to ask you all if you can see the picture that I'm about to show you, but we're going to do this in a fun way because I found some pictures from when I played hockey in Minnesota, when I played junior hockey, and I found this one picture that signifies how good I was at fighting. And I want to show that to you, but this is kind of a tech test because I'll be able to see if the technology actually works. So let's see if you all can see this. Please confirm if you can see the pre-fight picture here. You'll note that it's dated December 16th, 1999. And I have to tell you the story behind this first picture. There's a follow-up picture to this that I think you'll really enjoy. But this first picture here is a scrimmage. So I played for the Minnesota IceHawks in, I guess they're actually now in Rochester. They used to be in Mankato, Minnesota. And so I played for this team, and we had a scrimmage right before everybody left for the holidays to kind of determine starting positions for the latter half of the season. And so Me and the other goalie thought, well, if we're going to be battling for a starting position, what other way to show that we're truly committed than to fight one another? Now, at this point, I believe I am, how old was I here? I want to say I'm 16 or 17. I'm probably 17 here. And the other goalie was, he was just about to age out. He was either 19 or 20. And I'll show you what happened next. This is what happened next. And although we don't have video, you can kind of fill in the blanks because you can judge by my straightened knees and the fact that he has assumed a dominant posture there, that he continued to whoop me pretty hard. Needless to say, I didn't start for the remainder of the season, but I did get to start a couple of games. But I thought that would just be a fun way to share with you all kind of how my hockey career went. Let me pop back over here. I'm working on a tiny computer, so it's fun to pop back and forth between these various windows. But I'm glad you could see that video nonetheless, or rather that picture. I even have, this is what happened when I got beat. This is what happens when I'm left alone with the technology. This is exactly what happens. I'm just looking at some comments over here. I see Brian S. is tuned in. Brian, thanks for the kind message on Facebook. That's pretty fantastic. I appreciate that. Ernesto, yes, indeed, he is kicking my butt. And a lot of great comments on YouTube as well. Gloves off. Dan from Spearfish is here. We also, Monica confirmed that you could see it down in Florida. That's awesome. Kyle asks, is that a bottle of Bib and Tucker in the background? Yes, indeed. It actually is. It's an empty bottle of Bib and Tucker. Bib and Tucker is actually one of my favorite bourbons when I drank bourbon a little bit more than I do now. A lot more than I do now, actually. But anyways, this is so cool to see. It looks like the stream is working on all platforms, and I am kind of floored right now. I'm kind of floored. So thank you all for confirming about those pictures. I've got one more test that I want to run, and then I'll just I guess I'll open it up to ask me anything, really, before we start. We're going to start officially at 11 o'clock. That's when the live member guitar party starts, and yeah, we'll just pop into kind of the normal flow of the member guitar party. But prior to, I just wanted to pop on live and, well, just hang with you all, talk some hockey. The Hawks are out, as I may have alluded to in previous Acoustic Tuesday shows. And I don't know if they were out last guitar party. No, last guitar party they were not out. But Vegas looks very strong. Let's just put it that way. Although Vancouver did win last night, and I'm very, very happy about that. I'd like to see that series get extended and maybe see if Vancouver has what it takes to actually win that series. So it looks like you all got great pleasure out of me getting my butt kicked. I'm glad we could join together and enjoy that moment. I want to cue up a video here just so that you can see, or rather I can see, you can see it as well. This is a video that we'll take a look at in our live party, but I just want to make sure you can see and hear it okay. So please let me know. Here comes that video. This is actually TAC member Brandon playing a song. We'll just get a sneak peek and I'll go into the full thing when we do the live party here at 11.
Billy in the low ground, take 100.
All right, hopefully that popped up. My video feed's a little delayed, so I'll be able to see that. Oh, it did. Awesome. I just could, if you all could confirm, you can hear that video okay, I would greatly appreciate it, because that's the only question mark. That is really the only question mark that is left. And then I've got all the technical boxes checked. Pretty great stuff. So anyways, yeah, if I could just get confirmation that the audio worked on that video. I just got confirmation from the team. Connor just said it here on YouTube. Pretty awesome stuff. Vic says it came through, but the audio was soft. Yeah, that's one of the that's one of the hurdles I have, is adjusting audio on the fly. I haven't found that button yet. So some of the some of the audio will be great. Some will be maybe a little bit low. But that'll be for the next round when I get much better, when my technical prowess gets elevated. I saw a couple of questions pop in, and I figured since it's early and we haven't officially started the party yet, let's go ahead and dig in and, well, answer a couple questions here. Let's see. I got a couple over here on the Vimeo side of things. Jeff S. says, "Hey, Tony, what does the metronome-looking tat on your arm represent?" Sorry if you've answered this before. Great question. I believe you're referring to that one. Right. Oh, it's weird. It's all mirrored. This tattoo right here, and you'll see that I've got kind of, well, let me just stand up and show you. It's a lot easier. You kind of see that there's a little bit of a opposites theme there. So that particular design is actually the cover plate from a dobro, or a resonator guitar. The dobro has been kind of my musical companion all along, and really launched me into the acoustic world pretty significantly. And I thought, to just kind of pay homage to that, I figured, well, I'll just get it tattooed on my arm. I've always been kind of fascinated with the whole opposites thing, so that's how the tattoo is done. But that's a pretty awesome question. Brian S. says, "You never mentioned the Minnesota Wild. I wonder why." I actually have a soft spot in my heart for the Minnesota Wild. I was actually living in Mankato, Minnesota, when their inaugural season happened, and I remember watching it on TV and thinking it was so cool. I don't know if I necessarily got the gravity of the situation then, but I know that I believe Manny Fernandez was their first goalie, and I really dug watching him play. So I do have a soft spot for the Minnesota Wild. Kraz asks, "Did I survive my birthday?" Yes, I did survive my birthday. Thank you for asking. Yeah, it was a great night. Gosh, let's see. It was a weekend birthday, Saturday. So I went up to there's a beautiful reservoir here in Bozeman. It's called Highlight Reservoir, and Whitney, my wife, and I went up and joined her family and kind of did the stand-up paddleboard kayak thing, although Whitney and I just kind of hung out on the shore. I didn't want to leave Whitney hanging out alone because she wasn't able to go in the stand-up paddleboards or the kayaks because, well, she's nearly 9 months pregnant, so we didn't think that was a great idea. But nonetheless, it was relaxing, super fun. And then the following day, we got to just really chill. It was pretty awesome. It was pretty awesome. Kraz also says, "As a lifelong Maple Leaf fan, I could share your pain, Tony." Yeah, it's tough when the playoffs come and you only get a sneak peek at the first round. It's kind of a bummer. Let's see. What else here? See if there's any other questions. Oh, Brandon says this: "You used to shred metal. Why don't you do an episode on classical guitars?" Man, this is a great question. I really dig this. The Acoustic Tuesday show, I'm always open to suggestions for topics on the Acoustic Tuesday show, and I've actually never crossed into the nylon string or the classical guitar realm. I have a huge, huge love for classical guitar, listening to it, as well as playing it, because it's just kind of a different timbre altogether. The strings are much less tense. The strings are much more forgiving. They have a little bit more of a noodly type feel. And I really enjoy the sound that classical guitars do offer. So I'll go ahead and put that in my queue of episodes. I have to do a little digging. There's been some wonderful guitars that have been put out by, why can't I think of the name? Oh, it's blanking on me now. Well, Yamaha puts out a bunch of Cordoba. That's the brand I was thinking of. So I'll have to dig into that. That'd be a fun episode. I appreciate the recommendation there, Brandon. That's pretty fantastic. Aaron says different world on the hockey picture. Yeah, for sure, for sure. Joe and Don are here. Well, I want to thank them. Thank them first for the wonderful birthday card that y'all sent. Very much appreciate that. It really made my day. And then we are on early because let me bring everybody up to speed. It's about 10:50. The party's scheduled for 11, and we will still do the party at 11. But since I am running the tech myself, I wanted to go on early to test any bumps or hurdles I might run into, but also, just to hang. I think we could probably make this a little bit more of a tradition. It's really fun to be able to hang and just kind of have this low-key, I don't know, ask me anything kind of mode here. So it's pretty darn cool to see this, and there just seems to be a ton of people popping on, which is great to see, and which makes me think that this should be a tradition for sure. I really dig this. Ryan asked, "Do I ever enjoy playing any gospel music?" That's great. A great question. I do, but I kind of got it by proxy. Because I've found out more about gospel music and that through bluegrass and blues, ironically. In fact, I'm going through a huge Mississippi Fred McDowell phase right now, and in doing so, I realized that he played kind of straight ahead blues, but also a lot of spiritual songs. So very cool to kind of get exposure to those songs via that route. Great question. I appreciate that, Ryan. That's pretty fantastic. Let's see. Oh yeah, Cleet's saying, I'd love to see a rundown of affordable classical guitars. Will do. I'm going to add that to my list. That's a fantastic idea. In fact, I've got so much technology on my desk right now. For a self-proclaimed technophobe, this is borderline ridiculous. I've got my notes on an iPad. I've got a computer here next to me that is showing all three feeds. You can see that, the comments and everything. And I'm sure my phone's laying around here somewhere, but it's like a walking Apple commercial in here. It's a little ridiculous. Plus, I'm trying to switch. Martin says, "How are the nerves?" Let's see if I can find a sound to go with that. Maybe not. Yeah, no nerves. It's just a fantastic day. Aaron says, "For once, work didn't get in the way of attending." Pretty awesome. Let's see, where else we got here? Let's see, I got time for a couple more questions if you all have any. Gaurav says, "Your review made me get a Taylor GS Mini, and I love it." Oh, I'm so happy to hear that. Taylor GS Mini is kind of my go-to guitar in terms of travel, in terms of comfort, in terms of just having a guitar that sounds good in such a small package. So pretty great instrument right there for sure. I get stuck looking like in between computers. I feel like I'm trying to have one eye here and one eye here. This doesn't work. For those of you who ever want to try, I mean, you're welcome to try it. And if you did right now, more power to you. But I did not. I did not succeed in keeping one eye over here and one eye over here. Plus, I got the iPad, which is new. It's a new thing. In fact, I had to have Summer set it up because I have no clue what I'm doing when it comes to technology. But this show's different. And let's get a round of applause for that. I appreciate you all bearing with me while I figure out the tech. We're going to start here in about 5 minutes. And we'll dig into the normal kind of guitar party happenings. A lot of great stuff coming. In fact, I got a workshop coming that I think you'll really enjoy about feeling progress even when or achieving progress rather, even when you feel like you're stuck and you're just not going anywhere. And I think that's a feeling that all of us guitar geeks get a lot. We have great intentions to move forward and get and achieve progress and achieve our goals, but sometimes it's just like, am I really going anywhere? So I'm going to share with you 5 different ways you can actually feel progress, even when you feel like you're just kind of in the rut and you're not going anywhere, because I think you'll be surprised. I've been doing a lot of reading about habit building, and the way to build an efficient habit, and a habit that actually works and is sustainable. And a wonderful book that I'll recommend. I'm only in chapter 1 right now, so I can't say that I've read the full thing and I recommend it. But for those of you interested in habits, habit building, how to build a successful habit, there's a book called Tiny Habits by B.J. Fogg, F-O-G-G, that Levi actually turned me on to, and it is kind of mind-blowing, talking about habits and how they need to be easy, and how your motivation level can fluctuate, but there's this kind of, there's all this nerdy stuff. There's a graph, and there's this action line, and there has to be this kind of synergy between motivation and ability, and it has to be an easy enough task to maintain because sometimes your motivation fluctuates. I won't give you the whole Cliff's Notes version of the book, but nonetheless, it's a great book. I'm really enjoying it. And one of the things that was profound, I will share this with you right now, is that, when building a habit, one of the crucial pieces in building a habit is celebrating what you do. Even if it's something tiny, you have to celebrate, because the more that you feel good about what you're doing, the more you're actually likely to continue doing it. And I thought to myself, well, this is so rad. This is kind of baked into the Tony's Acoustic Challenge world, because we celebrate small wins as much as we possibly can. And I thought, wow, we started doing that before even reading this book, and then here I have the science-backed thing that says, yeah, celebration is a necessary part about building a habit, feeling good about it, and most importantly, sustaining that habit. So I thought that was a pretty neat little factoid. I'm sure it won't show up in trivia anywhere, but it's a pretty neat factoid nonetheless. So I'm going to actually dig into our live guitar party here today. And I want to do this. This is really fun. This is the first time I've ever had a chance to do this all by my lonesome, kind of controlling the various technology streams, etc. And there's a little bit of a delay, so please please forgive me if you catch me looking back and forth, because I'm trying to catch up on comments here, but also be live with you here. There's just a subtle delay. So anywho, what can you expect for today's live guitar party? Well, as I mentioned, I'm going to share with you five ways to achieve progress even when you feel stuck. We're also going to go through some inspiration from the TAC family. I've got some great performances to look to show you here and analyze. Also, we've got some TAC-iversaries to celebrate, some upcoming news on Tony's Acoustic Challenge within Tony's Acoustic Challenge, and of course, I'll be giving away a guitar today. For those of you who can see, oh, it's over here, that dartboard there. It's so weird because it's mirrored. That dartboard there is got a paper attached to it that's got a bunch of faces on it from Tony's Acoustic Challenge members who completed the August practice plan. I'll throw a dart at that dartboard, and whomever it lands on will win themselves, speaking of Taylor GS Minis, a Taylor GS Mini. So let's go ahead and get started. If this is your first live guitar party, welcome. If this is your 74th live guitar party, welcome, just the same. So happy that you could join me today on this kind of momentous occasion, in that, yeah, it's a self-produced live guitar party. So I just want to say hi to some folks. I'll try and go across all the platforms here. I don't want to miss anybody, but there's a ton of people on right now. We've got Joe F., welcome, Sherpa Dave, Brian S., Vic G., Patty H., Ernesto, Sandy, Cross, Bob G., Nolan R., Richard S., we've got Greg P., Martin F., Dennis M., Charlie's here, Aaron M. is here. Hello to you all. Dom T. says, how many bourbon bottles did you have on your birthday? Actually, none. It was a pretty clean birthday. I was pretty happy about that. Over on YouTube, I want to say hi to Sophia P., Kirk P., Aaron S., Charlene K. Always be happy. That's a pretty fantastic screen name there. Hello to Guarav, Deja Voodoo, T-San, Connor D, Sahana, Cleat A, High Plains Drifter, Ryan B, and then over on the Facebook end of things, we've got Tony W, Alistair Hay from Emerald Guitars. Well, hello, Alistair. It's so cool to see you. Hopefully all things are well in your end of the world, Alistair, Elisa E, Steve G, and so many more. Holy smokes. Just hello to everybody and welcome. So if this is your first time, like I said, welcome. Get comfortable because we've got a lot of stuff to go over. In fact, what I want to do right now is kind of give you the overview of how these live guitar parties work so you know what you're getting yourself into. Generally, they're about 45 minutes to an hour long. Now, I did go on a little bit earlier today just because I'm working out some technology and stuff. Just want to make sure that I want to make sure that we're all on the same page. But what I do is I kick things off with a live workshop. And the topic of today's workshop is 5 things that you can do to achieve progress even when you feel like you're stuck. And I know that this isn't a foreign feeling to any guitar geek because when we come into things, even with the best of intentions, sometimes it feels like you're just not getting anywhere, and it's very frustrating. It can be very frustrating. So I want to share with you 5 things you can do to kind of break that frustration and feel like, you know what, I actually am progressing, even if it's in baby steps, and that's totally okay. And then also, after that workshop, I'll open up the floor to any questions you may have. If you do have questions about that specific topic, great. I'll take those usually first, but if you have just questions beyond that when it comes to playing, gear, or what have you, I'll open the floor up to those as well. In fact, Jonah is standing by and he will be collecting questions, but I do want to ask you this, and this is across all platforms. If you want to ask a question, and get it answered. I'm going to try my best to answer all questions. I just saw Chuck H. popped over in the Vimeo chat, and he said, "Hey, Alistair, I'm loving my X20." That's pretty awesome. Cheers and high five. That's pretty fantastic. Thanks, Chuck H., for leaving that comment. Let me get back on track here. This is the problem with all these comments. If at any point in time you do have a question and you want it to get answered, please, when you leave your question, precede it with a hashtag question. Just simply hashtag the word question and then go ahead and ask your question. That kind of lets us know that, oh, this is a question we need to answer because sometimes it's difficult as the comments continue to scroll by. And that's pretty much it. We have some great Tony's Acoustic Challenge member performances that I want to dig into to show you some progress from some folks of all different skill levels. And then we also have some tack-iversaries. In fact, pretty amazing tack-iversaries this round. 2 3-year tack-iversaries and 1 4-year tack-iversary. What's a tack-iversary? A tack-iversary is essentially being around Tony's Acoustic Challenge for a year. And yes, it's a great time marker, but it's also an opportunity to look back at the progress you have achieved and also set some goals for the future. So we'll get into those here in just a little bit, but let me go ahead and dig into one of the things that's top of mind right now. And that is, I want to offer a huge heartfelt thank you to the Tony's Acoustic Challenge family from both myself and Whitney. Back on, I guess it was last Friday during the virtual open mic, there was about 40 plus attendees. And what happened was truly magical. I'm going to give you all a screenshot because it's pretty amazing. It's pretty darn amazing what happened there. Let me see if I can pop over. Here it is. Hopefully you all can see this picture. This is just a screenshot from the virtual open mic that happened on Friday. This was a Friday night virtual open mic, Friday Night Live, and there were well over 40 members that were there, and it was so amazing to be a part of that. And more importantly, it was so cool to see the TAC family kind of band together and kind of create this tradition. This is something that's been growing in popularity, and each time I pop on, I see new Tony's Acoustic Challenge members. I see amazing performances, people that are performing for the very first time at an open mic, and folks that are just so talented, and it's such a treat to see. But this Friday was really extra special because this Friday the theme was kind of a baby shower / birthday party for Whitney and I, and it was just I really mean it when I say thank you so much for all of you who showed up, played songs, spectated, cheered the performers on. All the songs were kind of selected to be in the baby theme, which I thought was so cool. And Whitney said afterwards, I have to share this with you. Whitney said afterwards, she said, if I started crying at the beginning, which she nearly did because Carol M. kicked it off with a lullaby, she said, I would have literally been crying the entire. I think we were on for like 2.5 hours. So it was so cool. And I just, again, huge thanks, not only from Whitney and I for the subject matter and the time you all took to learn songs, but really for the tradition that continues. Kathy did a great job hosting. Brendan was her co-host, and everybody was just there in support to help it run smoothly. And I just, it's really so cool to see. And Whitney said, she said, your members are so special. And I'm like, yeah, it's just like one big family. It's really, really incredible. And Whitney has seen it at the Acoustic Life Festival before. And I think one of the things that we're both missing, both Whitney and I, and you probably are as well, is that kind of that contact we get with our other members to just get inspired to really feel like, wow, I am part of a group of guitar geeks that really cares and feels they just want the best for me in my guitar journey. And that's what these Friday night open mics have really been doing. I've been able to pop in usually about once a month, and I'm always left with this huge warm feeling in my heart. And last Friday was no different. So that's my very long thank you for that wonderful kind of dedicated Friday Night Live. So awesome to see. And I just, again, mega thanks to everybody who showed up. Really fantastic stuff. Now, let's go ahead and dig into the workshop today. How to feel progress when you just are like, I think I'm stuck. I think I'm not going anywhere. And I just want to say that I feel that every guitar geek at some point or another will feel this feeling of, okay, I'm not going anywhere. I set a goal, I'm working towards this goal, and I'm just not doing a good job. And that's just not true. We just have to seek out the progress that you are making, or do some subtle little tweaks so that you do feel progress. And I've got 5 of them that I want to share with you right now. And this was really spurred on because just 2 short months ago, we walked through a 90-day goal-setting workshop all together as the Tony's Acoustic Challenge family. I did one alongside, and in fact, last guitar party I shared that. It was to learn 5 songs, 5 Townes Van Zandt songs to play for Emerson. Whitney and I are expecting a baby boy here in, just a couple short weeks. And I want to be able to play those songs for him. And I just wanted to share some of my progress a little bit later on my goal. But this workshop title, this workshop topic really spurred from me actually feeling like I was struggling a little bit. Prepping for a baby is a lot of work. And I say this, and I'm not the one that's carrying the baby. Whitney is. But we're just getting the house ready and things like that. And it certainly made me kind of miss a couple practice sessions that I wanted to make. And I thought, am I stuck? But the answer is I'm not stuck. And you're not stuck either. We just need to seek out the positives. And I want to share these 5 things with you right now. The first one I want to share with you is to cleanse your palate. Okay, what does that mean? Cleanse your palate. Well, when you go to a wine tasting or something like that, you got all these different wines, and in between, you have to like slug water and like rinse your mouth and spit it in a barrel or whatever they have. I'm not sure that's exactly how it goes, but it seems about right. Anyways, I say this because we need to do the same thing when we're working towards a goal. I think sometimes the feeling or the sentiment is, if I'm not working towards my goal, then I'm failing. Or if I'm not working towards my goal, then I'm cheating. Or if I'm not working towards my goal, then I guess it just mustn't mean that much to me. And that's simply not true. Sometimes we can get so worn in to a goal we're working towards that it's really okay to take a break, take a breather. Right? For example, if you're on the job, let's say you're building the house. The end goal is to build the house. But you're not going to work all day every day to get the house built. You have to take a break, otherwise you would physically collapse. The same is true musically, but because the stakes aren't as high as physically collapsing, we don't look at it that way, but it's true. If you're working towards a goal, and you feel like, I'm working really hard, I just feel like I'm stuck, take a break. That doesn't mean you're abandoning the goal. I'm talking for 1, 2, 3 days, maybe a week if you really have been working hard and you just need to refresh yourself. take a break and cleanse your palate. Work on something completely different. Work on something that maybe wasn't on your radar, but you just need to exercise your skills in a different area and then come back to your goal. That's the crucial piece, right? You go to cleanse your palate, you go to try something new, but then come back to your goal. And I think you'll find that you come in with kind of renewed vigor and more excitement for your goal, because you'll actually realize, oh, I actually was making a lot more progress than I thought. So first tip is to cleanse your palate. The second one is to seek inspiration. Now, I wrote some notes on this because I was like, how can I actually convey this seeking inspiration? Because it's like we get confronted with choice after choice. I mean, we're at a time now when if you want to listen to any artist at any time, you can. And I think that's a good thing, but it's also one of those things that makes even picking something to listen to difficult. So how do you seek inspiration when you can literally find it anywhere and look up anything at any time? And I have a suggestion. So if you feel like you're stuck, find an artist that you really like. You know how we can fall into guitar ruts sometimes? Well, we can fall into listening ruts as well. So let's say you're really into, Coulter Wall, okay, like I kind of am right now. Well, it's okay to always reach for that Coulter Wall album and listen to it, but if you want to seek out inspiration, start finding Coulter Wall's musical lineage, right? Find an artist that you like and then look back a decade or two and see who inspired them. See who they cited as inspirations. And go back a decade or two and start listening to that. And I think you'll find that not only are you going to discover new artists, but you're also going to realize that, oh, this artist that I love's technique is kind of steeped in this older tradition. And then you can do it even another layer after that, right? Take those new artists that you found and ask yourself the question, well, I wonder who inspired them, and go back even a couple more decades. This really can unlock just kind of that auditory rut that we get into. We start to listen to the same things, meaning we hear things the same way. Whereas if you push yourself to listen to something new, but related to what you like, then all of a sudden you're exposing yourself to new techniques. You're waking up your ears to new styles of music, and ultimately that will segue into your playing. So please seek inspiration when you feel like you're not going anywhere, because I can assure you, you'll find a new artist and all of a sudden that will ignite some creativity. That will ignite a spark and you'll start feeling that progress again. The third thing I want to share with you, the third way to kind of bust the rut or to achieve progress when you feel like you're stuck, is to go on a gear search. Okay, I'm going to repeat that and then I'm going to explain, because I feel like I'm going to take a lot of heat for this. Go on a gear search. Guitar geeks, you and I, we get a lot of flack for the guitars that we own, the amount of gear that we purchase, and things like that. But here's the deal. It's for good reason. Again, we have really good intentions. We're not just trying to amass, a room full of gear. Purchasing gear is inspiring. And I'm not saying you have to go out and buy a new guitar or, some new big purchase. Buy a new pick. Buy a new set of strings. Buy some new bridge pins. Do something to kind of pull you back into the guitar world. Sometimes, especially at the end of summer, seasons are changing. Motivation can be fluctuating from super high to super low. I just want to watch TV all day. If you get some new strings, slap them on your guitar, your guitar is going to sound different. That's going to pull you back into the guitar. So what I'm saying is go on a gear search and find something that's going to pull you back into the guitar, okay? Because that right there will get you back on track. Right? Sometimes it's tough to maintain a practice habit, especially when motivation is fluctuating. So between setting that 90-day goal and getting some new gear to kind of pull you back into it, that's actually a recipe for success and something that is really proven. I mean, time and time again, when I haven't been playing a certain guitar for a while, I'll slap some new strings on it and kind of fall in love with that instrument all over again. And usually it'll lead to a playing session that goes well beyond the intended 10 minutes. Okay, two more things for you. This one is really a big one, and this is going to take a little bit of time to get into practice, but it's something that I feel like we all need to hear, myself included. And that is, always look for the lesson. Always look for the lesson. Now, all too often, and I fall victim to this too, so I'm lumping myself in. All too often, when we're trying to work towards a goal and we feel like we're stuck, or we feel like we're just kind of spinning our tires a little bit and maybe not making the progress we want to, we equate it with failure. There's no rule. This isn't a pass-fail test. Just because you set a 90-day goal 2 months ago and you feel like you either are or on track, you're not passing or failing. You're working towards something. Each day you spend with your guitar, you're making a little baby step towards that goal. And all too often I hear people, before the 90 days is even up, say, you know what, I'm not going to be able to do this. I'm not going to be able to do this. I don't want you to admit defeat. I don't want you to feel like you failed. What I want you to do is look for the lesson. Okay, what's the lesson that you learned? Maybe your goal was a little too high. Maybe it was a little too far outside your comfort zone. I want you to set a goal outside your comfort zone, but if it's too far outside your comfort zone, then you can dial back your goal a little bit. That's a lesson to say, okay, well, I feel like I might not achieve the big goal that I set out, but is there a way I can trim that down so that in a month or so I can say, yeah, I achieved something. I actually progressed. Or you can say, okay, you know, in my case, I wanted to learn 5 songs, you know, by the end of September. And I personally am on track, but if I wasn't on track, I could say, okay, 5 songs, what if I just knocked it down to 2 or 3 songs? Well, that's okay. That doesn't mean I'm cheating. That doesn't mean I'm failing. That means I learned a lesson that, you know, 5 songs is maybe a little too much with the chaos of life, so I'm going to just stick with 2 songs. And that's totally fine. So really don't treat this as a pass-fail. Look for the lessons. Look for ways you can better set your goal so that you can achieve it. Look for better ways that you can integrate your playing habits so that you do achieve your goal and you do feel that progress. So always look for the lesson. Now, the last thing that I have for you in terms of ways to achieve progress, even when you feel stuck, is to use the reduction method. Now, this comes from, I have a little story behind this. Sorry if I'm being a little long-winded. I just think this is a good story. But I was taking it was Intro to Audio Systems. Intro to Audio Systems. It was a class I attended at Columbia College in Chicago. It was an art school. And I attended this class. The professor was Ted Uzzle, U-Z-Z-L-E. And we had a specific unit on troubleshooting. And this principle is from that troubleshooting unit. Just like you can troubleshoot an audio system or a car or the plumbing system in your house, you can troubleshoot your guitar journey. And the reduction method is something that I want you to use, and I think once you start using it, it will have a huge impact on your guitar journey, your goal setting, and the progress that you feel. So if you set a goal, again, we'll use my goal as an example, 5 Townes Van Zandt songs. Well, here I am 2 months into it. This is hypothetical. Actually, again, I feel like I'm pretty well on track. But I'm 2 months into it, and I feel like, gosh, I got 1 song down, but 4 more in a month. That's 1 song per week, and I'm committing to memorizing these songs. How the hell am I going to do that? Start to reduce your goal. Again, this isn't an admission of failure. Half your goal. And if that seems achievable, then keep moving towards that goal. And if that halved goal doesn't seem achievable, half it again. And if that quarter doesn't seem achievable, half it again. Continue reducing your goal until it's achievable. Maybe it's achievable. Maybe you reduce it to the point of something that you can do in that day. That's progress. It's undeniable progress. If I say, oh my gosh, I'm 2 months, I set out to learn 5 songs. I'm 2 months into my journey. I've learned 0 songs. All I did was simply print out the chord sheet. Start say, okay, 1 song by the end of this 90-day period. That's fine. And you might think, oh, that feels like a lot. How do I even do that? Half it. Okay, I printed out the chord sheet. Maybe I'll just focus on learning the chords. And then I make progress that day by just simply learning those chords. So reduce your goal until it's something that you can do that very day. And then feel that progress. And let the momentum of that progress segue into the next day and let that momentum continue to build. Oftentimes, you can refer to it as a snowball or what have you, but the snowball has to start small. But once you start rolling it down the hill, it gets pretty darn big. Your guitar goal is the same thing. Sometimes we set these lofty goals, and I think I want to encourage you to set goals that are, again, just a little bit outside your comfort zone. But sometimes they're a little too big, and we can't see the path. So start chunking them down so that you can see the path. And chunk them down. Reduce it to the ridiculous. Something you can do today that will get the momentum started so you know you're working towards your goal. Okay, so that's actually one of the ways that I personally have found incredibly beneficial to achieving goals and things like that. Is just keep reducing it until it's something that you can do sitting at the table or in your guitar chair right then and there, because then you kind of spark that momentum that will carry through to the next day, and it will keep continuing. So let me give you a quick little recap of those 5 things that I want you to do to integrate into your guitar journey. Number 1, cleanse your palate. It's okay to walk away, but make sure you come back. Number 2, seek inspiration. Find new things to listen to. Find your favorite artist and track their musical lineage. You'll find some amazing discoveries, and more importantly, you'll learn a bunch and be exposed to new guitar techniques. Number 3, go on a gear search. Get some new strings, get a new pick, get anything to pull you back into the guitar habit. It's actually truly effective. It really does work. Number 4, look for the lesson. Your guitar journey is not a pass-fail scenario. You don't pass it one day and fail the next. You continually progress. You just have to look for it. And if you feel like you fell short maybe one day, look for the lesson in that. Maybe you bit off more than you can chew that day. That's okay. The next day, take a little bit of a smaller bite. And then the final lesson is reduction. Use the reduction method to get yourself down to a point where you can feel progress today and carry that momentum to the next day, and then allow that momentum to continue to build, and before you know it, you'll be at your goal. Okay, so I do want to open up the floor for questions. Again, if you have a question in the comments, whether you're on Facebook, YouTube, you're on the party page, please put hashtag question and then go ahead and ask your questions. A little bit later here, I'm going to be digging into those questions and answering them very specifically. So I'll give you some time to think of your question, enter it in the comments, and then right now I want to actually visit the Tony's Acoustic Challenge community. We've got some wonderful performances that have been submitted. This first one, you actually, for those of you who are on early, saw maybe a little bit of a sneak peek. But this first one comes from Brandon Butler, and this is the tune Billy in the Low Ground that he learned from the Song Vault. And there's a cool little addition to this. He's playing this from Shanghai. Yes, we have a Tony's Acoustic Challenge member in Shanghai. In fact, we featured him in the TAC Family Holler email, I believe a couple of weeks ago, where he was, maybe more than a couple of weeks ago, he was looking to purchase a guitar in Shanghai. Well, here he is playing the song Billy in the Low Ground from Shanghai. Here's Brandon.
Billy in the Low Ground, take 100.
I want to thank Brandon for that. It was so cool to to see. Let me read you what I'll read you what he wrote in the forum when he posted that. He said, "Took me a while, but it's amazing what I learned by doing this. Much more than just the notes of the song. Also about confidence, overcoming that feeling of I can never do this. The importance of knowing the song and not just focusing on the parts. For me, it made a huge difference. And the importance of how just stepping away from it for a few days actually helped the song sink in. Very cool. This was not my best version, but when the camera was on, I could not get it just right. Thanks, Brian P., for the tech assist." And what I love, and I actually didn't, honestly, I didn't even realize this, but Brandon actually compiled a bunch of what we just talked about into his post, and I just think that's so awesome. Just to kind of the taking a step away and coming back actually allowed him to help the song sink in. So really awesome stuff. So cheers to Brandon for that. In fact, let's give Brandon a round of applause. I love that I have sound effects just literally at my fingertips right now. It's maybe a problem, but not quite yet. Our next performer is Eduardo O, and he went into the jam-along part of Tony's Acoustic Challenge, which is under Stage 4. There's a jam-along song library, and he decided to learn More Pretty Girls Than One from that. So let's go ahead and listen to Eduardo play. And he actually asked us a question that I'll actually answer here when we're through listening to him. Here's Eduardo.
Hey, I'm going to give this a go. It's More Pretty Girls Than One. I'm having trouble with the mini F chord, or I think I'm having trouble with the mini F chord. So I'm just going to give this a whirl. I don't know. I'm not sure what else to do. I try the regular mini F and with my 3 fingers, and I use my pinky, and it seems to sound better, and I can get it to sound clearer. But the other way I can't. I always hit it with my ring finger on the 2nd string or the 3rd string, and it just muffles it, and I can't figure it out. So that's the way I got around it. But it wasn't great. But if I get any feedback from anybody, that'd be awesome. Thank you.
Awesome. I really appreciate Eduardo sharing that. You just got a sneak peek at a Attack-iversary here because I didn't set up my technology right. You'll see that picture in just a little bit, and you'll find out who it is. But I want to thank Eduardo for sharing that. Number one, what a great performance. By the way, there was no tablature to that song. It was simply a jam-along song. So he had to learn that by ear. So I'm assuming he probably played through that video quite a few times. Huge win right there. Huge, huge win to use your ear to kind of get that song out and be able to play it. Now, secondly, somebody mentioned it in the comments. I can't remember which platform, but they said, wow, you know what? That guitar sounds awesome. And I totally agree. I want to say that's a Zager guitar. I usually try and guess the guitar if I can't see the headstock. So, Eduardo, if you're on the chat, let me know if I'm right, because I'm just curious. And then lastly, the fact that Eduardo just was vulnerable enough to say, here's what I got. I'm having some problems with the mini F chord. Can you help me out? And as the TAC family knows, that's just like, all of a sudden people start stumbling over one another to help you out. And I saw some great comments in that thread. And I want to grab my guitar and just share a couple of things that I think maybe would help clean up that mini F chord. Now, what he's talking about with that mini F chord, let's see if I can get the camera up here. Let's see if I can get this. Okay, cool. So you can hopefully see my hand there. The mini F chord is your index finger on the B and high E string on the 1st fret, middle finger 2nd fret of the G, ring finger 3rd fret of the D. Nice sounding mini F chord. And he was saying that his ring finger is kind of muting the G string. So there's a couple of different things that I'll recommend here. Number one, in fact, let me move over just a little bit so you can see this. So number one, sometimes our palm gets pretty far away from the edge of the fretboard, the bottom edge of the fretboard. And what that does is it reduces the angle of our fingers. See how flat my fingers are versus that? See how arched they are there? Flat, arched. Well, the way to change that is to bring the palm of your fretting hand closer, not touching, but closer to the bottom edge of the fretboard. That'll allow you to get some nice arch in your fingers and make some room for those strings that need to move underneath your fretting fingers. So that's one tip I can say, but judging by the video, it looked like Eduardo had some really great arch in his fingers. So let me go ahead and pass on the next tip, and that's just to modify the chord so that it works for you. Sometimes barring that first fret kind of drags our hand down in a way and gets us far away from an ideal fretting position. Now, if we go ahead and modify that, ignore the high E string, but mute it. So it looks like I'm fretting the high E. I'm not. I'm simply muting it. And then add your pinky to the 3rd fret of the A string. That'll allow you to focus on each and every fretting finger and kind of get the optimal position. So that's another thing that you can do. The second thing that you can do, or the third I should say, is just ignore the ring finger altogether right now and just play the high 3 strings. Because that'll actually give you all the notes that you need for an F chord. And you can even cross pick through it if you wanted to. And it sounds nice and full and will fit with that arrangement. So just a couple of different tips for you, Eduardo, and anybody else struggling with that mini F chord. Sometimes it can be a little bit of a bear, so I want to make sure I shared that with you because I think that was a really awesome question, and I think there's probably quite a few guitar geeks that have that question. Now, I do want to entertain some questions that we have here, and it looks like, oh, sweet, Jonah, thank you from afar. So it looks like Jonah has popped in a couple of questions for me to answer, so thanks for asking, everybody. The first question here comes from Mark B. What do you think of the new Martin flexible core strings and the Lux zirconium bridge pins? Well, Mark, I just found out 2 things that I need to add to my list of things to try out. I have actually never tried the flexible core strings. I've tried the silk and steel, which are a lighter core string, but I've never tried the new Martin Flex core strings, so I can't speak to them directly, but what I have noticed on other strings that kind of have a lighter core string is that they're a little bit more forgiving in terms of how they feel under your picking hand, especially for a finger picker, especially if you have an older guitar that maybe would benefit from less tension on the top. Those strings are a good thing to try out, but if anybody's tried them in the comments, let me know because that would be pretty cool to hear about. As for the zirconium bridge pins, I have not tried those either, but I have tried the Kevin Ryan titanium bridge pins. Now, I am certainly not a chemist, so I don't know what zirconium is versus titanium. I feel like they're both metal, but I could be wrong. And I notice, well, certainly for bridge plate health, the harder the bridge pin generally, the better. That's a general statement. It's not always the case, but if it's an unslotted, harder bridge pin, generally your bridge plate gets less wear. But I'll have to try those out. I also noticed sonically that there's a little bit more of a zing and articulation when you use those harder materials of bridge pins. Ebony being softer, moving up to bone a little bit harder, and then the titanium ones that I tried, obviously harder than bone. You definitely notice a little bit more articulation. But I haven't tried specifically the Lux Zirconium one, so I'll have to put those on my list to check out. Thanks for the recommendation, Mark B, and the question, of course. The next one here comes from Munyesh. I hope I said that right. It's a beautiful name. I like that name. A burning question I have is how to figure out what chords go with a scale or what scales go with different chords. I'm pretty good in scales, but I struggle with which chords go with which scale. This is a super common question, and I don't want you to feel like you're alone or that you're the only person that doesn't get it, because I've been asked this question time and time and time and time again. I'm okay with scales. How do I figure out the chords? Once I have the chords, what scales? Generally speaking, and I'm going to take a little bit of a page out of Fretboard Wizard on this. Fretboard Wizard, for those of you who aren't aware, is a course within Tony's Acoustic Challenge that specifically helps you use literally the 20%, even the 10% of music theory that you'll actually use on the guitar that you can actually apply and figure out songs by ear. So what I'll say, Munyesh, here is that figuring out the key to a song is truly what unlocks everything. Let me explain. The key to a song is the central focal point of the song. It's where the song wants to go to. It's its home base. When you find the key to a song, what it does, let's say you're sitting in a room surrounded by all the possible chords and all the possible notes you could ever run into in any musical situation. That's a lot, right? You're sitting there and these notes are flying around. You're like, whoa, one of these things is going to hit me in the eye. Once you find the key, it shines a light on everything that you need and leaves away everything that you don't need. So finding the key will unlock the scale you'll need, and it will unlock the chords that you're likely to run into. Now, to take it one step further, and this is going to get I'm not going to go too far in the weeds because I don't want to frustrate or deter anybody. It's actually pretty simple, but Fretboard Wizard does a great job of laying this out. Once you find the key, you have the chords that you'll likely run into and the scale that you'll likely run into. The chords and the scale are related. In fact, those chords are built from the scale. So once you find the key, you really have all the ingredients that you would use to cook the musical pie, if you will. And those two work hand in hand. A lot of times the notes that are chosen for the melody allude or hint at the notes that are being played or the chords that are being played, and vice versa. So it's definitely worth your effort to dig into learning how to find the key of a song, and more importantly, what that opens up. Because once you learn the key to a song, you'll kind of get a little bit more of a path made. You'll be more sure of the path that you're taking in terms of figuring out a song, figuring out a solo, figuring out the chords, etc. It's a great question, a really, really good question. I wish we had a whole bunch more time to dig into that because I really like geeking out on that stuff. Guy H, a great question here. Was learning mandolin helpful or disruptive to your guitar journey? Was having to learn different scales and chord shapes helpful or too much of a diversion from guitar? Thank you so much for asking this question. I actually feel that learning the mandolin and supplementing my guitar journey with the mandolin was very much additive to what I learn, how I learn, and how I start to see patterns. This is the biggest revelation for me, is looking at an instrument that's tuned differently. It's actually tuned like an upside down guitar in a way. Yeah, well, it is not in a way. It's tuned like an upside down guitar. And one of the things that was fascinating is that it really upped the level of my pattern recognition skills, useful patterns. Like I would learn a scale pattern on the mandolin, and it would have, obviously it's a shape. I would play the shape. It would have a root note so I could name what scale I was playing. And it started to change my perspective on what I was seeing on the guitar. I was looking at more so at the guitar in terms of shapes and repeatable patterns than I was before. And I solely blame that on the mandolin. I blame that in a good way. One of the things that I found extremely fascinating was that the mandolin is symmetrical. It's tuned in fifths, so the patterns are very repeatable. The guitar is not. It's tuned in fourths, and then you have the B strings thrown in there. It's just all bizarre and weird. So one of the things it allowed me to do is to see patterns more clearly. So it was not disruptive at all. If anything, it was very much additive, and it allowed me to kind of take the helicopter view of stringed instruments, stringed fretted instruments as a whole, as opposed to launch me in a completely different direction. So that was an awesome question, Guy. Thank you very much for asking that. Doug B comes in with a question. He says, two questions. He said, first one, how do I know if your daily video exercises are benefiting me? It certainly gives me something to work on for an hour, but how or where do I see the benefit? I'll stop there and we'll get to the second question here in a second. So the daily video lesson. So you log into Tony's Acoustic Challenge, bam, you got a video lesson right there. All you have to do is click start, away you go. It's benefiting you because it's taking the thought out of, well, number one, it's taking the thought out of what you need to work on for the day. So often, you know, especially in the digital age, it's less about going to a guitar book, flipping to a certain page and working on something. Now we can open up YouTube, we can open up any number of digital lessons and pick amongst anything at all. So one of the benefits of the lesson inherently, because of the way it sits within Tony's Acoustic Challenge, is the decision's made for you. You log in, click start, and you play. Now that's great, But how does it actually benefit your guitar journey? We get better when we try things that are outside of our comfort zone. We get better when we try things that maybe we otherwise wouldn't have tried. As humans, again, I'm guilty of this too, we fall into ruts by choice because what we take the path of least resistance more often than not. And this definitely applies with guitar playing. In that, if I sit down and play guitar and somebody else is around, I want to sound good. I want them to think I know what I'm doing. I want them to think that, wow, he's really good. And I only achieve that by playing what I know. But playing what you know already doesn't expand your skill set. It just makes you really good at those 5, 6 things that you play all the time. So by logging into Tony's Acoustic Challenge, pressing start and trying something totally new, totally not on your radar, something that might be outside of your skill range, something that you maybe have never tried before, guarantees to make you better. It's just by virtue of what it is. It's something new for you to try. Now, how does that show up, and how can you see if it's benefiting you at all? I want you to look at it more, less like a sprint and more like a marathon. In that, you're not going to log in, try an exercise, and then all of a sudden it's going to infiltrate your playing, and it's going to pop up everywhere, and you're going to say, "Whoa! 1 week of Tony's Acoustic Challenge, I'm a changed person." It's this continual exposure to new things, and all of a sudden that stuff starts to segue into what you play, right? It starts to add to what you play. Things are going to start to become easier. You're going to make chords easier. You're going to find melodies easier. You're going to be able to play licks a little bit easier because you've been pushing yourself outside your comfort zone. It's kind of learning by immersion. Is one of the best ways I can describe it succinctly, is learning by immersion. Something that maybe you wouldn't pick to learn, but you sit down, you learn it, and it does influence your playing. I think it's more about kind of putting pennies in a piggy bank, right? Each day you log into Tony's Acoustic Challenge, you throw another coin in the piggy bank, and then pretty soon you don't see the coins building up, but when you go to try a new song, maybe away at a jam session or just on your own work, all of a sudden you're like, whoa, I actually learned that pretty fast, and it fell under my fingers. It seemed to just fall under my fingers. Well, that's the daily exercises benefiting your playing. On to your second question, Doug. How do I achieve string awareness better? Struggling with that. Okay, this is a huge one for both flat pickers and finger pickers. String awareness, understanding that your pick or finger is going to hit a certain string at a certain time. And I would say this, it's not just one exercise that's going to do it, it's time with the guitar. Specifically, I will cite, though, the warm-ups. Okay, every single Monday on Tony's Acoustic Challenge, you get a warm-up. And those warm-ups are to boost dexterity, flexibility, fretting hand confidence, and string awareness, both in your picking hand and in your fretting hand. But the picking hand exercises really push your picking hand to trust, right? So I will say this, Doug, if you're trying out a warm-up and it's kind of maybe a string skipping warm-up or something bizarre that you're like, whoa, I don't even know how to do this. It's okay to look at the strings. As you're playing, look and see what string your pick is hitting. Once you start to get the feel, try and take your eyes away from the strings, okay? This is crucial because you want to build the trust and the confidence in your picking hand to hit the right string. It doesn't happen overnight. It's not a light switch that you find and all of a sudden flip on. It's something that you have to work at, but really focus on the feeling, right? So look, see what you're doing, see that you're doing it right, and then take your eyes away and focus on the feeling, because the more you get the feeling, the more trust you'll have in your picking hand and the more accurate you'll ultimately be. Awesome question. I've got one more. Brian S. says this: can you talk about holding a thicker pick for flat picking versus strumming? Yes, I can. I use the pick that I personally use is a Blue Chip TAD 1R 80. It's a very thick pick. In fact, I believe it's above 2 millimeters. I think it's a little bit thicker than that. Anyways, in terms of flat picking versus strumming. When I strum, I generally loosen up my grip on the pick because I want the pick to give a little bit, right? If I'm holding on to it as tight as possible, the only thing that allows the pick to give is how thin it is. Well, if you're using a thick pick, it sounds really cruddy. It sounds like you're slamming on the strings with a stick or something. It sounds like this. It's loud, it's brash, it feels clunky, chunky, and just overall weird. Whereas if I actually loosen up my pick grip, then see the pick now moves a little bit? That's what I'm going for with a thicker pick. Because if I do this, then the pick's not getting hung up on a string. If I grip it, if I white knuckle it, there's no play. And the string rests on the pick and then lets go rapidly. Whereas if I loosen my grip, the string's able to kind of just flow through the pick, and it sounds much more pleasing to the ear. So that's one of the things that I think is huge, especially when you're moving to a thicker pick. Now, in terms of flat picking, single notes, I will grip it a little bit harder because I want the snap and I want to feel the tension of the string against the pick and I want it to release. Generally, I want more volume when I'm flat picking single notes as well. So that's an awesome question, Brian. I appreciate you asking that because it's something that a lot of folks wrestle with. They think, well, I guess I'm just going to have to use a super thin pick because I can't strum with a thick pick. Well, you can. You just have to adjust your pick grip a little bit so that it gives with the strings and creates ultimately a more pleasant sound. That's what we're looking at here. Okay, so thank you for your questions. We'll get to some more questions a little bit later. Again, if you have any questions, please put #question, and that will alert us that you do have a question, and I'll answer it here in just a little bit. But I want to go over some Tony's Acoustic Challenge anniversaries, also known as TAC-iversaries. The first one here comes from Donna Ray, and let me show you a picture of Donna. Here she is with her guitar, and she is just an awesome Tony's Acoustic Challenge member. And there she is. It looks like she's in a cool place too, but awesome to travel with the guitar there. And I want to show you one more picture of Donna, and I think this is one that, well, I'll allude to it here in a little bit. The picture, if you can't read it, it says, "Please go slow." So with that, let me go ahead and introduce you to Donna and her TAC-iversary. Here's what she had to say. And during the TAC-iversaries, it's kind of a proclamation. You post in the forum and you answer 3 simple questions. The first question, where were you with guitar when you joined? Wow, 3 years with TAC already? But what a difference it has made. When I joined, I had basic guitar skills. I got my first guitar when I was 12 and taught myself to play all the basic chords. I could play songs as long as they weren't too difficult. I knew some music theory from years of piano lessons as a kid, but over the years I never progressed beyond that level, and I wanted to do more than just strum along. I really felt stuck and couldn't figure out a plan for learning the next steps. When I found TAC, I knew the program of daily lesson and practice was what I was looking for. Question 2. What are 3 things you can do now that you couldn't do before Tony's Acoustic Challenge? Bar chords. Still a long way from perfect, and some are easier than others, but I'm now working them into a lot of songs. I love the way they can change the tone and character of a song and add variety to always playing open chords. Number 2, I can understand and play various scales and fine notes on the fretboard. And number 3, I can play with others and perform for an audience. I used to be so nervous because I didn't feel I was good enough. Becoming a better player through TAC has given me the confidence to share music with others. I joined a jam band and have made wonderful new friends there. I now enjoy playing at open mic nights instead of feeling like I'm going to throw up. And my guitar partner and I have formed a duo and are starting to get gigs. Music is now the center of my life and I'm having so much fun. Thank you, Tony, and everyone in the TAC community. So awesome. And then on to the third question. Then I'll gush a little bit more about Donna Ray. The third question, complete this statement. It would be amazing if this time next year I can improvise and play solos, improve my finger picking, and play all the songs in the Song Vault. This photo was taken shortly after I joined TAC. I wanted to share it because it kind of sums up my guitar journey, and I think it's a good philosophy for learning guitar. Whatever your speed, enjoy the ride. And again, for those of you that need a reminder, it just says, please go slow. I thought that was just a fantastic way to sum up the notion of it being a guitar journey. And it's not a rush to a destination. It's not a rush to this false point of mastery, because that's just an illusion anyway. Mastery is simply an illusion, especially when it comes to guitar. There's always something to learn. And I thought that picture pretty much spoke all the words that it needed to. Now, in terms of another Tackiversary I want to share with you, this next one is a 4-year anniversary. In 4 years, this individual has showed incredible progression in their playing. I am astounded. In fact, he did something that we don't necessarily ask in the forums, but I am so happy that he did it. We're going to look at a video right now of Henrik L. Happy 4-year Tackiversary. Actually, we should give some applause to Donna Ray on her 3-year Tackiversary. There it is. And then this next individual, 4 years with Tony's Acoustic Challenge, Henrik L. And what we're going to do first is look at the first video he ever posted on Tony's Acoustic Challenge. And here is Henrik L. playing Billy in the Low Ground. Pretty awesome performance from Henrik L. Now, keep in mind, that was his first post on Tony's Acoustic Challenge nearly 4 years ago. So let's dig into what Henrik had to say. And I've got another special treat for you, because Henrik posted something recently, an audio recording that he did, and you'll actually be able to hear some incredible progress. But let's read what Henrik had to say first. Question 1. Where were you with guitar when you joined? It was the 5th of August, 2016, and I was spending my holidays in Hungary at my parents-in-law's house. I had, back in May, bought a guitar and had a great wish to start to learn to play guitar. Okay, so May 2016 is when he bought his guitar. Just keep that in mind. I'm queuing you up for the audio recording that I'm going to play here in just a second. Let's see. On my search for guitar lessons on the internet, I saw advertising for TAC and decided to join and see what I could get out of that long bearded guy. And my guitar journey started with tons of musical inspiration and motivation. It was like being on a road trip, a good one. More. I want more. And after a week, I could play some easy chords and strums. Tony's approach to music is amazing, and he's an absolute marvelous teacher. I learned good practice habits and had played my guitar every morning for at least 15 minutes with my morning coffee. I always remember to have fun with my guitar. Number 2, what are 3 things you can do now that you couldn't do before TAC? Number 1, I can play guitar and make music. Number 2, I have made some lifetime friends. Gary L. from Texas, who he visited last year and stayed at his place for a week, and my good friend Phil from Copenhagen. And number 3, I'm the proud owner of a pre-war dreadnought that he actually purchased with Gary L. when he was out here on his visit. So cool. And then the final thing, complete this statement. It would be amazing if this time next year I can cross the Atlantic Ocean and meet my Texan friend and participate at some jam sessions in Texas with other TAC family members. Thank you, Tony P. and my TAC family. Okay, so I forgot to share a picture of Henrik with you. Here is Henrik right now. This is him celebrating his 4-year Tackiversary. Let's give him some applause. And that is his pre-war dreadnought that he purchased with Gary L. when he was out here. He literally flew over the Atlantic Ocean, visited his friend Gary L. here in the States. Now, one of the things I want to share with you right now is the follow-up post. Okay, so Henrik was so kind enough to not only share his first post ever on Tony's Acoustic Challenge, he shared an audio recording that completely blew my mind. So this is Henrik's current state of guitar journey, the current state of Henrik's guitar journey. Here it is. Let's see if I can get it to play here. Here we go. Yeah. So that's pretty darn amazing, if I do say so myself. Let me just close this. Sorry, guys. That was a sneak peek of the song I was working on at the recording studio. It just auto-played. I don't know what to say. But the focus isn't about that song. The focus is about Henrik's transformation. Wow. Huge. You listen to the Billy in the Low Ground clip, and he played that very well. The timing was great, but there was almost a subtle timidness to his playing, and totally understood. I mean, he posted that in 2016. He bought a guitar in May of 2016, joined TAC in August of 2016, and I think posted that fairly shortly after. And here we are in, what are we in? Well, we're 4 years later, in August, September of 2020, and wow, he not only played the lead to Wildwood Flower, he played the rhythm as well, and it sounded so good, and you could almost feel the confidence pouring through the recording. Really fantastic. Huge congratulations to Henrik L. Well, oh, there's a new noise I just found. It says party noisemaker. I dig it. Anyways, congratulations, Henrik L. We've got. I want to do a couple more questions here. I just got a word from Jonah that there's a few questions that came in. Let's see. I'll just give you a quick forecast. We'll answer some questions. I got a couple more performances, one more performance from a TAC member, and then another TAC-iversary that I want to share. And while you're thinking of it, while I'm on the topic and answering these questions, if you had a small win over the last month, please, in the comments, let me know. In fact, just a little bit later, we'll celebrate small wins. And as I mentioned way early on, they're vital to your guitar journey. Feeling good about what you're doing with the guitar is essential to keeping with the habit of playing guitar on a daily basis, even if it's for just 10 minutes. There's a lot that can happen in 10 minutes, and you should feel good about it. So, if you had a small win over the last month, in the comments, please let me know. Hashtag small win, and then go ahead and write what it was. Maybe you found a new artist. Maybe you changed your strings for the first time. Maybe you learned a new song. Maybe you shared your love for guitar with another fellow guitar geek. Whatever it is, I want to know, and I want to help you celebrate it. So go ahead and put those in the comments. Hashtag small win. And in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and answer some questions. This first question comes from Wes. Hi, Tony. How often do you practice guitar? Do you find life gets in the way sometimes? What a great question. I strive to practice guitar every morning and every afternoon. It's just what happens. And I'm not trying to set any lofty expectations or set this like great example or anything like that. It's just by virtue of this is what I do every day. I end up practicing quite a bit. But to answer your question, does life get in the way? Well, let me back up. To answer your question specifically, yes. Every morning I do practice guitar. If I do miss a morning, it ends up being an evening practice session. And I just commit to 10 minutes. I follow the same thing that everyone on Tony's Acoustic Challenge does. I commit to 10 minutes. If that 10 minutes leads to a longer practice session, awesome. If it doesn't, I can feel good that I spent 10 minutes with my guitar for the day. In fact, I'm reminded of just last night, Whitney and I ordered dinner, and we were waiting to go pick it up, and I thought, I got at least a 10-minute window here. I just grabbed my mandolin, and I started practicing it for 10 minutes. Once we had to go, I put it away. Voila, that was the end of the evening. And it actually worked out really nice. I felt pretty darn good about it. The second question you asked was, do you find life gets in the way sometimes? Absolutely, 100%. In fact, I said just recently that, sorry, I was distracted by comments. Just recently I said that, I strive to practice in the morning. This last week and a half, I don't know what happened. I don't know if it's the seasons changing. It's kind of getting cold in Bozeman, but I've just been oversleeping. I've been oversleeping, and my morning practice sessions haven't been happening. And originally I was bummed out, but I thought, it's just change of seasons. I'm kind of, there's a lot going on, expecting the baby, getting the house prepped up and everything. And I'm probably just tired, and I probably simply need to sleep. So I bumped it to the evening, and it's worked out okay. There's a couple of evenings that I've missed in the last week and a half, but that's okay. I trying to keep reminding myself that this is a really busy time for Whitney and I, and it's a time that I really want to focus on family. I want to focus on being with Whitney and sharing this time with her, kind of our last moments when the house is quiet, and almost this wonderful anticipation for well, for a new part of our family to arrive. So yeah, life does get in the way, but you just got to remind yourself that, it's not permanent. I'm not going to not practice guitar because I didn't practice it one day. That, just because I didn't practice one day, that doesn't give me a life sentence of never practicing again. I'm just going to pick it back up the next day, and I'm going to spend my 10 minutes. And you know what? If I miss that day, that's okay. I try my best to cut myself slack. Easier said than done, but I try my best. And you know what? Sometimes I'm not so good at it, and that's okay. I just got to remind myself, you know what? 10 minutes, I'm supposed to be having fun with guitar. It's not supposed to be this weird, bizarre obligation. If I miss it because things are busy, so be it. I'll pick it up when I do have the time again. So, life does get in the way, but you just got to kind of roll and make the best of it, and just kind of, I guess, try and be present as best you can with whatever you're doing. Awesome question, Wes. I appreciate you asking that. Raphael R. says this question. Tony, can you explain a little bit of tone differences between mahogany back and sides with mahogany top and with a spruce top? Which do you prefer? Great question. I have both combinations. What I find with an all mahogany guitar is that it's generally a little bit more warm and woody. It's a little bit sometimes more reserved, but it has this almost crispy airiness to it that I enjoy. Whereas the spruce top adds a lot of articulation, adds a bit more volume, but also adds this kind of what's the word? I'll say projection to it because of, I think, spruce's nature, that it just kind of projects a little bit more. It's generally a little bit louder. Not a huge difference in terms of tone per se. The flavors of mahogany are present in both, but an all mahogany guitar, generally speaking, can be a little bit more reserved, whereas a spruce top mahogany guitar has a little bit more projection, has a little bit more volume. And I would say just a little bit more crispness and brilliance because of the addition of spruce. Awesome question. And if you get a chance ever to try them out side by side, please do so, because there's nothing that beats the experience of hearing things firsthand. It's pretty astounding. Let's see. The next question here. Billy Mack says, why did Tony recommend using unslotted bridge pins? Is there some advantage over slotted ones? Great question. I'm glad you asked, because I wanted to clarify this, and then I felt like the moment passed. But here it is, the moment's back. Let's give it up for the moment being back. So, why did I recommend unslotted pins? Unslotted pins don't allow for the ball end of the string to work up in between the pin and the bridge plate. So if your bridge pin's sitting here, I got to do this correctly, and this is the top of your guitar, you want the ball end of your string to sit right in that crook, right between the pin and the bridge plate. Sometimes the ball end can work its way up the pin if it has a slot, and it gets in between the pin and the bridge plate. And this can cause premature wear to your bridge plate. It doesn't happen overnight, so there's nothing to worry about. That you don't have to stop the presses and go get unslotted pins. But I will say that unslotted pins are far more healthy for your bridge plate because it prevents the ball end of the string from working its way into the bridge plate and chewing it up, again, over time. Now, disclaimer, if you plan on getting unslotted pins for your guitar, I would strongly recommend getting them fitted by a luthier, because a lot of times what has to happen is your bridge needs to be keyholed, meaning a little slot needs to be cut in to the top of the bridge to allow the string to pass through. Otherwise, it's really weird with unslotted pins. So if you want to fit your guitar for unslotted pins, take it to a repair place that knows what they're doing, and they can make sure the fit is correct. But ultimately, it's a lot more healthy for your bridge plate. That's why I would recommend them. And I think it actually impacts the tone a little bit. We're not talking huge here, but definitely a little bit. The final question here from Michelle P. Question: what advice do you have for an older beginner with little musical background, played 40 plus years ago, practice every day, but feel like I need more focus to move forward? Awesome question. And I think one of the things I want to address here, Michelle, is that as an older beginner, I think we can sometimes, I feel like I'm kind of an older beginner too, especially with the mandolin. I feel like we can find ourselves falling into the trap of what we should learn versus what we want to learn. Now, as an adult, I feel like, again, it's this logical approach of, oh, I have to, or I should learn all the basics. I have to, or I should learn this, that, or the other thing before I can learn the other thing. And I want you to kind of throw that logic out the window. One of the beautiful things about being a beginner is you can learn anything you want. It's all new. And I want you to focus on the things that excite you. Focus on the songs that you really want to learn. Find an artist that you love and start thinking of you playing their songs. It's so crucial to align your guitar journey with where you personally want to go. Try and ignore the shoulds. Try and ignore the have-tos, because those aren't fun. I want you to have fun, and I want you to play the things that fulfill you, that really make you feel like you're moving towards something. And I have to say, being that you practice every day and you're a member of Tony's Acoustic Challenge, I feel like that sets you up for success because you have a playing habit. Now all you have to do is take your daily playing habit and spend some time working on something that you really want to do for you. Yes, I think building your foundation is crucial. Yes, I think learning certain techniques is crucial. But bottom line, I want you to focus on things that excite you, because that will propel you forward and that will help you feel like you're moving towards something and not feeling stuck. The shoulds, the have-tos, got to be very careful with those. You really do. And I think as adult learners, we can sometimes fall more victim to that than a kid learning something. I remember when I was teaching in-person lessons, I'll just tell you this story because I think it's a great anecdote. I had a, she was, how old was she? Lucy was her name. She started lessons with me when she was 5. I stopped teaching. She had turned 6 or 7. So I had been teaching her for some time. But we were going through a beginning guitar book. I was a fresh teacher at this point. And we were a couple months into the beginning guitar book. I don't know if it was a Hal Leonard method. It doesn't matter. It was just a beginning guitar book. We were going through page by page. And I could just tell that it wasn't, she didn't seem to be having fun. She was a good student. She always showed up prepared. She was a great player. I mean, for 5 years old, she was a great player. But I could tell there was no sparkle there from her. She wasn't excited about it. She just was like, oh, my parents are having me do lessons and I'm doing this book and I'm doing a pretty good job. Well, one lesson I could tell, and I said, what do you feel like learning today, Lucy? And she asked me to play a song because I was doing a lot of guitar reviews at the time. She wanted to learn Freight Train by Elizabeth Cotten. She didn't know the name of it at the time. She's like, I want to learn that one song you play on your guitar reviews. And I thought to myself, I've got a 5-year-old beginning guitar student that wants to learn Freight Train. It's a finger-picking song. I usually don't start out beginners on finger-picking, but she really wanted to learn it. She had the song in a half hour. She learned the song in a half hour. And I right then, it was like one of those moments that cemented in my head of how powerful it is when somebody truly wants to learn something because they truly want to learn it. They will do whatever it takes to learn it. And here I sat with a 5-year-old literally going measure by measure through the song, and she had it. By the end of the lesson, she was playing the song. And this is no exaggeration. She actually played it for the recital. And if Music Villa still posts, I don't know if they still post the recital, but she had it videoed. It was up on YouTube at some point. Anyways, that was a little bit of a tangent. But there's a certain amount of power that happens when you align with what you truly want to learn, because I feel like then there's no stopping you. It's a great question, Michelle, and I feel like that's that is something that a lot of guitar players struggle with. People that really want to learn feels like I have to. Try and remove those from your vocabulary and really focus on what you want to do with the instrument. I think that will ultimately really help you out. Thanks, everybody, for the questions. I got a couple more things. I still have to give away a guitar. I'm really having fun. This feels kind of informal, so I just feel like I'm kind of chatting with you at the dinner table. So I hope you don't mind. But I'm gonna share with you a couple more performances here from the Tony's Acoustic Challenge community. Actually, one more performance from the Tony's Acoustic Challenge community. This one comes from Luke B. Now, Luke B is a brand new member, and this was his first post. This was on a Wednesday improvisation exercise. He played over the Hidden Sea of Awesomeness, and here it is. Pretty awesome for a first post. I mean, one of the things that I think we can take away from his solo there is the use of phrasing. That first phrase, it's only 3 notes, but he repeated it in a very musical way that fit the backing track so well. So I want to thank Luke for sharing that, and I also want to thank Luke for being a great example of, the power of phrasing. I think that's one of the things that a lot of times we can cast by the wayside when we try and solo, because sometimes it feels just like a scale. When you take 2 or 3 notes and repeat them in a musical way, in a kind of a nice rhythmic phrase, it adds a lot of weight and a lot of power. And Luke did a great job of that. So let's give it up for Luke. We'll give him some applause, and we'll give him a little bike horn too. Pretty awesome stuff. The next thing I want to go through here is Attackiversary, and it's from Niels. Now, let me pull up Niels' picture so you know who I'm talking about here. Let's see if I can do this correctly. Right, this is Niels, and he is celebrating his 3-year Attackiversary, and he actually made a video for us that I'm going to get to here in just a little bit. I think so the video itself, it's about 26 minutes. We're not going to watch the whole thing. We're just going to watch the intro here in just a bit. But one of the things I really enjoy is kind of the candid look that Niels gave us into his guitar journey. It's not every day that you're able to follow somebody along with their thoughts and their feelings, how they thought when they came in to the Tony's Acoustic Challenge and how they feel now. This video puts it on full display, and it's really a great study into the power of kind of adding those guitar geek pennies to the piggy bank. Over time, Niels really transformed his playing in a major way. So here's what Niels said in the forum as he posted this video. He said, "Hey, attackers, this past year I've been working with flat picking techniques and kind of being in a chrysalis, hoping to emerge a new and better guitar player. When I started, I foolishly made a pledge to myself not to submit any videos until I was back up to speed, expecting this to take 3 to 6 months. Oh well, it has taken more than a year, and some of the results are somewhat surprising to me. As I feel a 3rd anniversary is a bit special, I have made a super long, rambling and bumbling video instead of answering the normal Attackiversary questions. So grab a cup of your favorite beverage and sit down comfortably before you start. Special thanks to Dr. Dave, Derek, and Ricky K for their inspiration and support." Now, we're going to just look at this video. We're going to look at the first, 2 or 3 minutes, and this is just a sneak peek of what you can expect. So for those of you who haven't seen this yet, please visit it in the Tony's Acoustic Challenge forums. It's a really kind of a special look into Niels' guitar journey.
I started in TAC a few months after I turned 65. The idea of joining a group of fellow guitar geeks was very appealing. But I was like, well, who am I kidding? I played for more than 50 years, and I could really feel old age and arthritis lurking just under the horizon. And I knew that my physical and mental learning capabilities were definitely not as good as when I was 17. On the other hand, I've always loved to learn new stuff. So I thought, why not? And then I joined TAC. At the time when I joined TAC, I I can see that now, a pretty inflated opinion of my own guitar playing capabilities. I mean, I knew a lot of open chords, I knew the circle of fifths, I could fairly easily transpose to new keys. I knew the E and the A shape of bar chords, and could use them well up to the 7th fret on the fretboard. And I could accompany other people fairly easily. I had played so long that I can do it by ear on most songs. I mean, there are obviously some very difficult songs, often by the Beatles, which, I mean, you have to learn those, but really a lot of songs is fairly easy to, I mean, they all use the same schedule, same shape. So I could do that. And I played in a lot of different circumstances. I mean, I've done a lot of, what do you call that, campfire guitar playing with people, with my family, and I've performed solo in gigs and with accompanied one person or in a group. I mean, we were mostly, paid in beer and booze. But I've actually earned money on it as well. I'm not sure the IRS ever saw any of that.
We don't want to get Niels in trouble with the IRS. No, it's so cool. I really want to encourage all of you to watch that full video. It's so cool to be able to look at a guitar journey in retrospect and really kind of get in touch with, as you heard where Neil started, he said, I feel like I had an inflated vision or feeling of where I was. And it's just cool to see how he's grown since then and posting videos and whatnot. And I was just reminded, Vic posted in the comments, he said, Niels stays up, not consistently, but he's attended the Friday night open mics before, and it's 2 a.m. his time. 2 a.m. in the morning. Yes, when Whitney and I are busy trying to de-skunk our dog, Niels is staying up and playing the open mics. So cool to see that, and I just love it. Just love it. So thank you, and again, congratulations, Niels, on your 3-year TAC anniversary. Oh, I cut off the applause. You know what that sound means? Oh, you didn't catch that sound? Let me play it for you one more time. You know what that sound means? It means it's time to celebrate small wins. Yes, indeed. So I'm hoping that you have submitted your small wins. If you haven't submitted your small win, please do so in the comments. Hashtag small win, and I will go ahead and announce those small wins. Now, as we go ahead and get ready to wrap up the live guitar party, you do know that I am going to throw a dart at, over here. That dartboard behind me. In fact, I saw a comment somewhere about whose picture is taped to your dartboard. It's not just one picture. I want to say there's about 300 pictures on there of folks that finished the Tony's Acoustic Challenge August practice plan. And in doing so, they get their picture on the dartboard. And at the end of the live guitar party, I throw a dart. Whomever's picture that lands on, they win themselves a Taylor GS Mini, shipped straight to their door. And I've got my darts ready. Got my skull darts ready. These are pretty cool. I haven't really had a chance to show you guys these close up, but yes, they're intimidating. But I want to throw these. I've got some great small wins here that I want to share, though, first. And let's go ahead and give the rundown here. All right. Steve the Kiwi, small win. I completed a full month for the first time since November of last year. Happy to be back practicing regularly. That is awesome, and I'm so happy for you, Steve, to just kind of jump in and complete that full month. That has to feel awesome, and more so to feel like you're just falling into that habit again. So cool. Thanks for sharing that, Steve. Aaron M. says, finished a monthly practice plan for the first time in, no joke, over a year. This felt pretty huge, renewing my commitment to play every day. So awesome, and so happy to hear that. That's two right off the bat, just kind of, especially with, I don't know, a global pandemic and families at home and just things being weird. It's got to feel nice to have that regular habit again. So thanks for sharing that, Aaron. I really, really appreciate that. Sherpa Dave, hashtag big win. Retirement. Happy retirement, Sherpa Dave. He says more time for tack and guitar. Well, Sherpa Dave, you get all the sound effects. That's huge. Happy retirement. Happy retirement. Happy retirement. Oh, I got one more that I haven't used yet. The triangle. That's it. Happy retirement, Sherpa Dave. Pretty awesome. So happy for you. Congratulations. Next up, Richard. He says, I followed Tony's helpful instructional video and learned how to properly clean my guitar. Fantastic. Awesome. Kathy B says, I played an open mic outside tack and I was so nervous. But you did it. And that is so awesome. Thanks so much for sharing that, Kathy. And again, if it's the same Kathy B that hosted the Friday night open mic this last Friday within TAC, that was really well done. Great job hosting. Between Vic, Brandon, Cross, Kathy B, all the hosts I've seen and co-hosts, you guys do such a great job organizing it. That's a huge win for sure. Charlie says this, small win, finally finished writing, playing, and singing a song. I had no intentions of ever writing one, but I'm still working on the tweaking of it. Awesome. That's so cool when inspiration strikes like that and you find yourself doing something that you never thought you would, like writing a song in this case. So congratulations, Charlie, on that small win. Richard from the UK says, small win, logging onto the guitar party for the first time. Welcome, Richard from the UK. So happy that you're here. And this is the first time I'm hosting a guitar party and doing all the tech at once. So that's my win. I'm going to share that with you all right now. So I'm glad we can be here for Richard's first guitar party and my first command center experience. David M says this, found an easy to follow pattern to identify triads up the neck. Awesome. I love it. Ted D, small win, wanted to play a song incorporating a Tuesday lick. Finally did using Fairy Godmother, the G lick, and will soon post it on the forum. Awesome. I'm so happy to hear that. And you just reminded me, Ted, of something that I wanted to share with all of you Tony's Acoustic Challenge members. Number one, I love hearing that you're using the licks in songs. Number two, if you're ever asking yourself, I really want to learn how to use a lick in a song. I really want to see these licks in context. Well, every Tuesday over on Instagram, I actually post kind of a bonus instructional sequence of the lick of the day. Tuesday, right? Tuesday is a lick in Tony's Acoustic Challenge. And what I do is I go ahead on, again, I make a video for Instagram that shows the lick being used in context. And then I break it down and usually offer 2 to 3 variations. So if you're looking to add those licks to your repertoire and see more context, see how they could be used, please, if you haven't yet, follow Tony's Acoustic Challenge on Instagram, tack.guitar. And you get a little bit of extra inspiration, motivation, and maybe some creative spark. I've been posting those regularly every Tuesday, and people seem to really dig them. So I appreciate those who watch it. So awesome. Well, now it's time for me to give away a guitar. Oh, plus, if you're on Instagram, I posted a written transcript of a dream I had last night. I'm not going to tell you what it is. You got to check it out. It's borderline ridiculous. But since I'm doing this alone, you're actually going to come with me not on my dream, when I throw darts to the dartboard here. And you're probably going to see all sorts of stuff. Let's see. Here we go. I'm going to throw these darts. The ceiling, the lights. This is tough to do with the computer in one hand. So I'm going to hold the computer like this so you can kind of see the dartboard. Hopefully not close it. Okay, here we go. I'm throwing the dart. And, ooh, I think we got somebody first try. We did. You see that? I know you probably can't tell if it's you because I really got it good. But I'm going to go ahead and take this down and then bring it back to my desk and we'll see who won the guitar. And you'll note I wore my Blackhawks jersey today, the green one, because I needed all the luck I could get to hit somebody on my first try throwing a dart, but also to make sure the technology worked, and holy smokes, did it ever work. So here we go. Let me go ahead and pull up the chart here, and we'll see who won the guitar. All right. Oh, somebody with a Grateful Dead profile picture. I dig that a lot. And let's make sure my computer's up and running here. And it looks like August. Oh, it looks like Guy D won the Taylor GS Mini. Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen, Guy D is the winner of the Tony's Acoustic Challenge giveaway this month, and he has won himself a Taylor GS Mini. Pretty awesome stuff, and I want to congratulate him. Let's give him one more round of applause. That's Guy D. He's won himself a Taylor GS Mini, and thanks for bearing with me with the sound effects. A couple more announcements, and then I'll let you go about your Guitar Geek Live for the day. A couple of things coming up that I want to draw attention to if you're not aware of them yet. The first one is back on August 28th, just a few short days ago, I released a new song in the Jam-Along song library. That's under Stage 4. If you hover under the roadmap, go to Stage 4, you'll see the Jam-Along song library. I added the song Ridge Road Gravel, and that was added on the 28th, and judging by the one comment that was left already from Joe R., she said, this is a little bit happier than the previous song. So yes, indeed, it is. It's a happy song. Let's see what else is coming up. I've got 2 new technique-focused weeks of practice that are coming. One is actually at the end of this month. It's a tremolo. Did I do tremolo or banjo? I can't remember what I programmed. It's either going to be the tremolo week or the banjo week. You'll just have to tune in and see what it's going to be. But both of those are coming your way. And then just a quick update on Acoustic Tuesday. As some of you probably know already, but if you haven't seen the show, I'm actually doing the show from home. I'm taking this time to be with Whitney and prepping the house, getting ready for the arrival of our new baby boy, and it's been really fun to be at the house and do the show from there in kind of like this, a very candid format. But we're gearing up for a new season starting in October. So come October, I'm not sure exactly when at the moment. Once Emerson's born, I'll be able to relay the exact start of the new season for you. But yeah, it's going to be really exciting. I'm excited for you to come along with me for this journey in this intermittent time when I'm adding a new family member, and also for the new season as well. So I just want to thank you all so much for showing up to the live party today, bearing with me with any of the technology stuff, although it did seem to run pretty darn smoothly. And I just want to thank you all for being guitar geeks. The next live guitar party is Wednesday, October 7th at 11 a.m. Mountain Time. And we'll be probably doing something quite similar, actually, to this. And it was pretty darn fun. So I'm looking forward to that. Again, thank you so much for sharing your time with me today. Thank you for being not just Tony's Acoustic Challenge members, but really just for being, well, family members. Thanks for being a part of the TAC family. Thanks for making Tony's Acoustic Challenge what it is. And again, I just can't thank you enough for sharing your time with me today. Have a great rest of the day. Have a great rest of the month. Be on the lookout for those small wins. They are absolutely vital to your guitar journey. And I'll see you Wednesday, October 7th at 11 a.m. Mountain Time for the next guitar party. Cheers. Thank you guys so much. I really, really appreciate you spending time with me today.